Got dreams of being a professional podcaster, but have no idea what you're doing?
This is impossible.
That's about to change.
A new kind of school.
Welcome to the Pod School Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be talking about the 4 things that you need to get your podcast from your head into people's ears. There are a lot of other things that you can add into the equipment that you have, but really when you're starting out, if you're still trying to work out if it's for you, if you don't want too much paraphernalia, if you're thinking, I don't need to buy 550,000 things if I don't even know if I'm going to be doing this for 5 minutes, then you can just start out with these 4 things and that will be enough to get your show out into the ether, into iTunes, wherever you need it to be without too much hassle and fuss. The first thing is a microphone. It stands to reason that if you want people to hear you, you have to have a way to get your voice recorded, and that is going to be a microphone. Your little microphone on your laptop is not going to be enough. If you record your show into that, it is going to sound to your audience like you are recording on a toilet because you're far away from that microphone, because it picks up everything, all of the room echo, all of the noise. You really ideally need a microphone that you can get up nice and close and personal with so that you can get as intimate with your listener as possible. This is how you build a connection with the person on the other side who's listening through their little headphones. So getting a decent quality mic, and it doesn't cost a lot, is a very important part of having a show that sounds good. The microphone that you might have seen recommended if you've been looking around at other podcasting experts and what they recommend, this is probably one of the most popular mics, and that is the ATR 2100. It is by Audio-Technica. It is a USB mic as well as an XLR mic. You can head to podschoolpodcast.com and type XLR into the search bar if you want to find out the difference. I have an episode of this show about that. But if you are just starting out and you want things to be as simple as possible, the simplest way to hook a microphone up is to just plug it into your computer. And that is where a USB mic comes in handy. Usually, microphones are either USB or XLR. And the XLR is the little 3-pronged plug that you might have seen that plugs into a mixing desk or a Zoom. If this is all too technical for you, then don't even worry about it. A USB mic just plugs right into the USB port of your computer so that you can record right there. And that will be the simplest way to do things when you are starting out. The other thing that isn't really technically in my list of 4 things, so I'll say 4.5, that you will need to get is a pop guard. And that is just the little foam sock that you put over the top of your microphone, and it just helps to take away some of the harsh P and B sounds that are called pops. That's the technical term for them. It can be quite grating for your listener, and it's good if you remove those. But I tell you, if you've ever tried to remove them in post, they're annoying because you have to go right in there and get in there and slice them super finely. So rather than having to do that after the fact, it's always nice if you can avoid as many of them as possible in the record, and a little pop guard will help you do that. The second thing you need is my fave thing, the most important member of your podcasting kit, and that is your headphones. You need to be able to hear everything that is recorded exactly as your listeners would hear it, because you will not pick up things with your naked ears that you will pick up when you're hearing things with headphones that are coming through the microphone. Stuff like air conditioning or wind noise, things that you will kick yourself about when you get to the point of editing. If that is the first time that you are hearing how the audio is recorded, then that is a whole world of trouble ready to open up. You need to make sure that you can adjust things in the moment when you're recording to avoid you having to go back and record again. This is particularly important if you have guests. You don't want to be ringing anybody up going, gosh, you know how it took me like 9 months to book you? Well, the funny thing is I can't record things properly, so I need you to book time in your diary again and come back and pretend that we didn't just have that half an hour conversation and do it all again naturally like it never occurred. You do not want to be doing that, so you need to wear headphones so that you can tell if there's any noise that's making the audio sound bad, if your guest isn't on mic and you need to get them to get a little closer to the microphone so that they can be properly heard. If you're not on microphone, that's always really important, and you can't tell those things unless you have headphones on. So make sure that headphones are a part of your podcasting kit. You can, of course, just use the earbuds that come with your phone. You don't have to buy snazzy Dr. Dre Beats or anything like that. You can get away with those earbuds quite easily. And then as time goes on, if you want to upgrade, go for it. The third thing you need is audio software. If you are going to plug your microphone into your computer, and that's the simplest way to start, you need some software to record that show onto. You don't have to pay for this software either. You can use a free program called Audacity. I will put links to this and everything else I refer to in the show notes page. Just head to podschoolpodcast.com and type equipment into the search bar. Audacity is a program that a lot of podcasters swear by, and a lot of people that have been doing shows for a long time still use. I personally find it a little bit clunky. I don't like it all that much, so I use Audition, and that's about $29 a month. But if you just want to start out and give things a try, it does all of the things that you will need it to do. So you can just download the free software online and give it a crack, and you might love it. Because the other thing about audio software is that sometimes it all comes down to personal preference. It depends what kind of interface you like working in. You might use Audacity for ages and then think, well, this is just the way I'm going to record my show. And if you don't have to do many complex things, it can be really great to use that and to use it for the rest of the life of your podcast. So Audacity is the free version. Audition is a slightly more expensive version. The fourth thing you need is a podcast host. When you record your audio, you will be exporting your show to MP3 file, and you need somewhere for those little lovely MP3s to live, because you do not want them to live in the media section of your website, because your website will run like an old mule. The more files you have on there, the more people listen to them, the more people are eating up your bandwidth, and your website will be slow. You want to keep all of the audio and all of the giant files out of your back end and in the hands of people who do this for a profession. It's not very expensive to get a podcast host. I think Libsyn, which is one of the more popular ones, is about $5 a month. I use a platform called Whooshka. They are free, but they also pop ads onto your content if you want them to, so you can make a little bit of money from that, so it doesn't end up costing you anything. You can actually get money back. So it's not a huge investment, but it is absolutely the smartest way to go. When you create a show, they will create an RSS feed for you, which is basically just a fancy way to say a URL that you copy and paste and give to iTunes, and then everything happens automatically. I will pop a link to an episode about how to get your show into iTunes so that you can go into more detail if you want more information on that. That'll be on the show notes page. But the podcast host is essentially the link between you and iTunes or any other podcast directory that you want to be a part of, and it just makes things really simple. You create a new episode, you put your little title in and your description, and it's very, very easy to use. So those are the four things that you need to start your podcast: a microphone with PopGuard, headphones, audio software, and a podcast host. And I will pop links to all of those things and examples of each in the show notes page at podschoolpodcast.com. It does not need to be super complex. You do not need 700 things. And if people are starting to say to you when you're starting out, well, yeah, you really need a mixer and you really need this, that, and the other thing, don't fall for the hype. Start simply. Work out whether this is for you, work out whether you want to commit to this and do it every week. And then as you grow your show and you grow your skills, then start to build on the equipment and choose things that you'll like and you need. You'll start to get used to using things a certain way, and then you'll be able to make more informed decisions. But in the beginning, if you just have those 4 items, you will still be able to get your show into people's ears. I hope that's helped you. If you are finding these tips useful, I am always very happy to receive your reviews in iTunes or wherever you listen to this show. Little 5-star rating never goes astray if you feel so inclined. And as always, you can check out my online podcasting course, Podschool, at podschool.com.au. I'll see you next week, and until then, happy podcasting.
That's all for today.